Hi, my name is Connor and this is the story of the tragic life of Nim. Nim was a chimpanzee that was taken away at just 2 weeks old from its mother. Nim would become a part of an experiment to see if chimps and man could communicate through sign language. And here's Nim's story. Nim was just 2 weeks old when he was taken away from his mother. This is really early on in a chimp's life to leave their mothers. You have to take into account they usually stay with their mums for 4 to 5 years after they are weaned off their mother's milk. Nim was to become a part of an experiment in the 1970s, which had the goal to see if ape and man could communicate through sign language. Nim was to be raised and nurtured like a human child, alongside a human surrogate family. The experiment was led by this man, Herbert S. Terrace. Nim was to be raised no different from any other human child that was loved and adored by parents. He wore human clothes, he got to eat real good, slept in a human bed, and even had pets to play alongside. Most importantly, he was somewhat free. He could roam around in his big garden. Despite this, you can take a chimp out the wild, but you can't take the wild out the chimp, so it seemed. At the age of 2, Nim was removed from his surrogate parents due to behavioural issues and was placed away and monitored more closely at Columbia University to further study American Sign Language. Herbert Terrace wanted to prove that humans weren't the only ones who could use true language. So he looked at our closest non-human relative, the chimp, with over 98% of our DNA being identical. The experiment was to be called Project Nim. Although controversial, the experiment was important to see if man and ape could coexist with a common language. While Nim did learn over 125 signs, Terrace concluded that Nim had not acquired anything worthy of the name language. One of Terrace's colleagues, Lawler and Petito, Nim's true vocabulary was closer to 25 than 125. However, other long-term carers for Nim disagreed with her. Finally, Terrace and his colleagues concluded that Nim did not show any meaningful human grammar, as Nim's language was strictly pragmatic as a means of begging for an outcome instead of communicating. Think of this like a dog who can understand a few basic words, but they can't exactly understand the meaning of words. Nim's playtimes get rougher, and Nim bites Petito, who requires 37 stitches by the age of 4. Nim mauls another researcher in the face and Terrace abandons the project. Nim is sent back to Oklahoma, where he sees other chimps for the first time in his life and has no idea how to relate to them. But when the primate center runs out of money, Nim is shipped off to a small cage at a research lab at New York University, supervised by Dr. James Mahoney. Here at the research lab, they would perform animal testing for a variety of vaccines for diseases. Dr. James Mahoney begins to see the research lab as inhumane and secretly collaborates with one of Nim's favourite caretakers from Oklahoma. His name was Bob Ingersoll, and they both begin plotting to free Nim. Nim was moved again to Black Beauty Ranch, a Texas sanctuary mostly for abused horses. Eventually, Nim's first mother, Lafarge, returns to visit him. Nim recognizes her, but goes into a rage, stopping just short of killing her. Nim continued to show sign language he learned decades ago, whenever a former trainer at the Institute of Primate Studies went to visit him. However, sadly, Nim died on the 10th of March 2000 at the age of 26 from a heart attack. What do you guys think? I know this video is a little sad, but we can only learn and better care for animals. Do you guys think Nim could understand language, or do you think he was simply begging? Let me know down in the comments. I'll put some of Nim's sentences that he signed below in the description. If you're new here, please subscribe and always consider like the video if you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.